Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside the athletic fields here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Rail Trail Flatbread Company, a casual American dining experience specializing in an all-scratch-made kitchen featuring wood-fired flatbreads, an inviting atmosphere for the whole family to enjoy. And as always, we come to you live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. Rentschler Biopharma is a global contract development and manufacturing organization specializing in biopharmaceuticals and advanced therapies. They take pride in contributing to nearly 25% of FDA-approved biopharmaceuticals in 2023. Rentschler Biopharma, reliability you can trust. And coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics is also brought to you in part by Unibank. Big bank know-how, community bank attitude. Check them out at their Milford branch inside the Shaw's Plaza. Milford TV Executive Director Tim Coet with you on the call as we enter into the final week of the fall sports regular season. It is our final coverage of this fall sports regular season, and we're so happy to be back here on the Milford turf for another edition of Milford Boys Soccer as the Scarlet Hawks take on a rival from the Kelly Rex division in the Taunton Tigers. Milford comes in a tie for second place in the Kelly Rex division standings. They are 9-4-4 overall on the season. Taunton, meanwhile, a tough season about to wrap up. They come into the matchup in sixth place in the standings. They are 0-14-2. An interesting subplot will hang in the air as this game gets underway. We'll delve into some of the details of it as the broadcast goes along, but suffice to say for now, Milford does come into action tonight with hopes still alive for a share of the Kelly Rex Division title. This is the last game of the season for this boys team. They come into play today 2 points behind the Franklin Panthers. Franklin is in action in their final game of the season. They are taking on the Sharon Eagles, who are tied with Milford for second place in the Kelly Rex Division standing. So depending on how things break as this game goes on today and how things happen elsewhere, we could see a three-way share of the Kelly Rex Division title. But we'll get to more of that as the game goes on. In the meantime, a very touching moment here as soccer action gets underway. Taking the opening kick in this game tonight is the senior Caleb Silva. We have sadly not been able to see Caleb compete along with his teammates this season as he has recovered from an ACL injury. He is very near getting back to playing condition right in the final days of this season. He won't be able to stay out there for gameplay here today, but getting the opportunity on the senior night to take the opening kick and getting a huge cheer from a very big crowd here in the Milford stands today. So congratulations to Caleb on getting a chance to have a very special moment here as part of this senior night tonight. We honor all the seniors on the Scarlet Hawks roster who have contributed to a solid season this year, getting this program right back into playoff contention. Back into the playoffs this season. The only question is where things will shake out in the power rankings. We'll start to look at some of those numbers as the broadcast goes along as well. But in the meantime, a free kick here right out of the gates. Rodrigo Lorenzo over on the far side of the field, sending this ball back in deep, now set up right at the edge of the box, and Milford will cautiously send it backwards, and then firing in on goal, and that one goes sailing over the crossbar. And so early pressure being applied here by the Scarlet Hawks right in the opening minutes. Milford coming in off of a big statement win last Friday against the Franklin Panthers, a game that we covered for you live here on Milford TV. If you missed it, it is available on our YouTube page. Of course, we also come to you live here once again tonight on our YouTube channel, as well as locally on our Milford TV educational channel and on our Verizon High Definition channel. So welcome into all of our live viewers for this broadcast. Under the lights here on the turf field on this final Monday of the month of October. Cool conditions for this game today. Been a chillier day, certainly by comparison to what we've had for the bulk of this month. Temperatures were barely around 50 degrees when the sun was out earlier today, cooling down into the 40s now. So some crisp conditions for this late season boys soccer action. Robbie Capelli delivering this ball upfield, met by Taunton right around the center circle. Milford looking to attack from right to left across your screens here in first half action. Still 37-34 on the first half clock as once again Milford plays it back to the keeper. On the other side, we believe it is the senior Elderson Morera in net for the Tigers. They've had a goalie tandem that has shared the workload at times this season. This ball sky high coming down over in the vicinity of Andre Mora. And now dumped back downfield by De Araujo. That's Quaresma, number 22. My apologies. Getting some help up here from Antonio Paniche, team manager, who's done an outstanding job with this team all season long. Quaresma, one of the players that has stepped up more and more as this season has gone on, played very well across the midfield for Milford as part of that victory against Franklin last week. 36-10 on the first half clock as we get a Taunton player down over along the far sidelines as the ball ends up out of play, right back to his feet. That was number 5, Laidson Lopes, senior for the Tigers. Milford gets this ball back in, trying to cheat around a defender. That was Lorenzo, but scooped up by Elderson Morera. We can see the number 99 on the back of the jersey, so that confirms it is the senior in net for the visitors. This ball taken over by Kelvin Lopes for the Tigers. Taunton breaks it up along the far sideline. Milford able to intercept. And now a quick leading pass along the far sideline, looking for Gio Guardalucci as that ball ends up out of play. This ball let out a little bit too far in front of Nascimento. Ball ends up out of play. A development that we were following in the Franklin game last Friday is the health and availability of Milford's scoring leader, Gio Capelli. Gio only ended up coming in for a couple of minutes in the second half of that game as he has been dealing with a bit of a lower body injury that developed in Milford's game against King Philip a couple of weeks ago. And right now, Gio on the bench to start this game. Here's Rodrigo Lorenzo using some great footwork, ended up losing his balance right there at the end, almost spun his way into a wide open look on goal. For blasting this ball over to the far side of the field for Captain Gabe Santos. Still scoreless here as we work our way through the opening 10 minutes of this first half action. Back to the defense now for Taunton, touched by number 24, Luis De Rosa. A tough season certainly for the Tigers. They won 7 games last season. They ended up undergoing a coaching change in the offseason as Rui Estrella took over the program, who had a lot of coaching experience at the collegiate level. But tough season certainly for the Tigers, and it's unfortunately been on both sides of the ball. This has been an offense that has had a hard time scoring. They've scored just 10 goals on the season, which is the second fewest in the league, behind only Foxborough. And they have allowed a total of 66 goals on the season, which is the most in either division of the Hockomock League. So an unfortunate combination of a lack of a scoring punch and a defense that has allowed a fair amount of opportunities the other way. Milford hoping that they can cash in on some of that offensive punch in this game tonight. They'll get their first corner kick opportunity here with just over 32 minutes remaining. And this one angled in from distance, and Moreira able to hold on. It was Quaresma who took the header right at the edge of the box, using that height to his advantage. It looked like that ball might have drifted to the outside of the near post, but Moreira, taking no chances, was able to make the stop. Taunton looking for an opportunity the other way now, and Milford able to get a clear back out to midfield. Lorenzo giving chase, also Mike Gonzalez. That whistle going against the Tigers. It looks like instead the ball going out of play, so Milford gets the toss in. Lorenzo across the middle trying to thread that pass into Martins, but didn't make it there. Across the middle now, this ball poked loose. Guadalucci giving chase over on the far side of the field, and a clean steal this time up ahead to Lorenzo. He's able to settle it down. Pressure coming in from behind as he crosses back to the middle of the field and then over to Enrique Andrade. Lorenzo now looking for options. Deals a soft pass over the middle, finding Nascimento. And then in for a quick strike and a score. And just like that, the Scarlet Hawks are able to break through. Excellent passing. Able to find the open target. And so it was Felipe Nascimento who was able to score that one. And again, a lot of people touching the ball there to eventually free up number 16 for the score. 30 minutes and 9 seconds on the first half clock, as Milford is able to get on the board first. So for Nascimento, that's his first goal of the season, coming on the final day of regular season play. Milford has gotten a lot of different players on the score sheet over the course of this season. Gio Capelli certainly doing the heavy lifting with 10 goals, but now 10 other players with goals scored on the roster. Whistle will allow Milford to get the free kick, and Scarlet Hawks getting things started quickly. And right now you can see Taunton having trouble keeping up with the speed of Lorenzo, creating another opportunity in the box here. And this time Taunton able to clear it out. Nascimento looking for number 2 in rapid fire. Good speed over the middle for the Tigers to clear that ball back out to center. That was good work done by Steri Simon, a senior for the Tigers. Milford gathering back in on defense. They'll send it all the way back to Robbie Capelli, who may have caught Gianelli Cassina a little bit by surprise with that pass, but able to go back to get it. And then over towards the far side, out of the reach of Mike Gonzalez. We will endeavor to keep an eye on things in the Sharon Franklin game. There does appear to be some coverage over in Sharon, so if we get a score update on that game at any point, we will let you know. That game was scheduled to get underway at 5:30, so action should certainly be underway by this point. We don't have any scoring updates quite yet, as Milford looks to create a score update of their own here as they send that one in, but the stop was made by Elderson Morera. .26 minutes and 33 seconds on the first half clock. Again, this game playing a role in how things will shake out for the Kelly Rex Division title. We could have either one outright Kelly Rex winner in Franklin or possibly as many as three. It will either be one or three. There is no scenario in which two teams would share it. If Franklin wins against the Eagles, they will be the outright Kelly Rex champs. Although I suppose if Franklin wins and Milford loses, then you would have a share between Franklin and Sharon, but we won't entertain that as an option. Santos along the far side here. Milford with a goal just shy of 10 minutes into this first half to give themselves an early lead. This is the second meeting of the season between these two teams. An athletic play by Guardalucci inside of the box, and looks like contact with Morera, the keeper, is going to necessitate an injury timeout. We'll try to get a second look on our live stream. It looked like Morera might have run into Guardalucci as he was trying to make a play on that ball in midair. The injury might have been when he came down on the turf. But trainer Ashley will come out to help check on the Taunton keeper. And so right now the clock paused at 24 minutes and 59 seconds. We'll take a quick timeout on the broadcast as well. We come to you live from the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth, a 1-0 lead for Milford on top of Taunton. We'll be back with more in just a moment here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. back from the injury timeout, so the starting keeper, Elderson Moreira, had to be helped off the field. He was able to get off the field under his own power, but under the watchful eye of trainer Ashley, who is checking things out on the sideline. So right now, instead it is Logan Gallinger who comes in to replace Moreira. Looks like it might be a hip issue for the Taunton starting keeper, so we'll see if he is able to return. So right now, again, it is the backup Logan Gallinger, the junior, who is in. A lot of the preseason scouting for Taunton suggested that Moreira and Gallinger would share time in goal this season, as Milford aggressively heads this ball back down deep. That will go out of play. And once again, that was Felipe Nascimento, who has had his hands all over this game so far. He will get a rest here as he is replaced by Mikey Moreira. But an excellent start to the night for Nascimento, who scored the first Milford goal to give them the 1-0 lead they hold here with a little less than 24 minutes remaining in the half. All the fall sports teams wrapping up their regular seasons this week. A lot of the remaining games for teams will take place on the road, including the football team's Week 9 matchup with the Franklin Panthers, which will take place at Franklin High School this Friday. So from there, we will see how things unfold for the postseason. But before we get too deep into playoff conversation, staying focused in on the action at hand here today as Milford looks to earn their 10th victory of the regular season here today. More good passing, getting this ball deep down into the corner. Taunton able to get the clear, but now Quaresma. And then a pass in to Lorenzo, who again almost spins himself out of his shoes. Another check-in from distance, again from Quaresma. And it is stopped by Gallinger. Another pass stolen by Milford into Danny De Silva. De Silva with a trio of defenders that collapse in. Rebound chance, and it is blasted out of play. Lorenzo was there in good position, but he sends that one out to the near side of the Taunton goal. It is so impressive to see the awareness of Danny De Silva to keep plays on sides and then be able to immediately accelerate just at the right time to be able to create those kind of scoring chances. We saw him do it on Thursday last week against Franklin as he scored the only goal in that game with about 11 and a half minutes to go. Created an opportunity there and led to a rebound chance that will probably be in Tico Lorenzo's dreams later tonight. Some more good footwork from Milford, putting on a show here in the first half. As Lorenzo again trying to attack a heavy backfield. Now it's Andrade who will push back. Milford will look to gain entry once again as we reach the midway point in this first half action. Now Mike Gonzalez, he makes a defender miss. Turns on the Jets, brings this ball in deep, runs out of real estate. That ball goes out of play, and it'll be a goal kick. And substitutions here from Milford, and among them is Gio Capelli. So we'll get to see the scoring leader for the Scarlet Hawks here with just under 20 minutes left to play. We'll see how much rope he gets from Coach Pinto here today. I'm sure a balancing act for the Milford coaching staff. They want to win this game today to give themselves every bit that they can get in the power rankings to try to help their seeding, but they also want a healthy Gio Capelli for the playoffs. Near steal there by Moreira, but Taunton able to keep it on sides. Shot comes in from long distance. I believe that was from Anderson Catley. Ball goes out of play. It will be a goal kick now on the Milford side. Ball smothered by Logan Gallinger. Sends a little short toss over towards the near side for Fabio Diaz. Now Quaresma, Andrade, and then back into the defense. Pass intercepted. Moreira uses his speed to close in, but Taunton now on the attack. Simon trying to free himself for a look. Taunton will try to dump it in from longer range. And Milford will float this ball back out to the midfield, where it's gathered back in by Taunton's Benny Freitas. One of the longer sequences on the attacking side that Taunton has had in this half. This ball will cross the goal line. And Milford will have a chance to clear it back upfield. 17.5 minutes now remaining in the first half. Here is Gio Capelli now with the ball on his foot. Trying to dangle there to create some space. Sends this ball spinning across the goal mouth. Now trying to chip it in. That ball will drift over the net and out of play. Capelli trying to create some space there, waiting for teammates to crash the net. Whistle here going against the Scarlet Hawks, leading to a free kick chance for the Tigers. Well-placed kick, and the redirect needed a diving play from Robbie Capelli to angle that ball out. It'll lead to a free kick chance here on the near side for the Tigers. And so Taunton creating some chances for themselves. It's still just a 1-goal lead for the Hawks. And now another corner kick, this time from the far side. So Taunton with one of their best sequences of the game so far. Did not result in a look on net. This ball fed ahead for Capelli. He had to come back for it. And now we'll check in on Gallinger. Again, that ball was likely to the outside of the post. Gallinger made the play, and of course that will give Milford now the corner kick chance. You can see the frustration from Gallinger as he let that ball go out off his hands. Good position for the header, but that ball stays high over the crossbar and out of play. Goal kick for the Tigers, dumped back in by Quaresma. Capelli shoots it back towards the middle of the field. Now it's Martins who puts it up for grabs. Out of the reach of Martins, lobbying that went out off of the Tigers, but the officials saw it otherwise. Taunton back on the attack with 13.5 minutes to go in the half. Milford pressures. It's Moreira who creates the steal. Ball drifting back towards the middle, but Taunton easily able to intercept. And now a free kick awarded. That will be taken by Gabe Santos. Short kick finds Andre Mora. Dropped up the near sideline for Andrade, who crosses it into the box in the direction of Bruno Esteves. And now into the box, a little reverse kick from Gio Capelli that is tracked down by Gallinger. That would have been some kind of trick shot from Capelli if that had gone in. Gio Capelli factored into all three of the goals that Milford scored in their 3-0 win against the Tigers at Taunton earlier this season. He scored 2 of the goals and assisted on the third. Moreira racing to track this ball down in the corner, trying to keep it in play. And a little bit of a shove after the play on Moreira. Taunton will get the toss in. And Moreira now gets a check from behind, and all of a sudden, a couple of different players giving Moreira some heavy contact. This time, Milford will get the free kick out of it. A little under 11 minutes to go in the half. Moreira with the free kick. And Capelli trying to keep it alive. He fires it in. That's high. And substitutions in now for the Scarlet Hawks. Lorenzo will come back in after a brief rest. Good ball up ahead for De Silva, but the defense able to break things up. And now Milford will check in from distance, and that ball ricochets off the crossbar. Rebound came out, and Capelli can't put it in. And so Milford has had a couple of good opportunities to tack onto this lead. They haven't been able to do it yet. Creative shot from long distance, then right back to Capelli on the doorstep. I think that might have been Martins with the shot from distance. So it stays a 1-0 game as we come down to the final 9 minutes of the first half. And now this ball taken away. Danny De Silva and Kelvin Lopes both jockeying for position there. Milford ends up taking the whistle, so Taunton will get the kick. Angled towards the near sideline, but Milford quickly drops it back to De Silva across the midfield. Tries to lead that pass for Lorenzo, but too far out in front. And Gallinger will toss it out towards the far sideline. Simon again for Taunton. Milford saves that ball from going out of play. Simon goes back to get it and dropped out of play. Well, late whistle. Contact there by Lorenzo. Freitas with the kick for Taunton. Knocked back toward midfield. And now Milford quickly accelerating. Ball taken away as Lorenzo is trying to bring that ball up with pace. Great footwork there defensively. That was Bruno Esteves defensively getting it done for Milford. Offsides that time. Deliberate pace on that kick for Taunton, and Milford able to drop it back to the center circle. De Silva with a feed ahead to Capelli, trying for a self pass, gets a shoulder check. Size advantage for Luis De Rosa there on that play. Morera pestering once again, and the end result, the free kick for Milford. Deflected right onto the foot of Lopes. Taunton gathers back in. De Silva trying to interject. Now Taunton going the wrong way with it. Eventually dumped back ahead by the defense. Four minutes and 19 seconds on the first half clock as Milford looks to start another breakout from the defensive end. Taunton trying for a late push here. As Milford lets this ball drift back to center to Silva. Instead it's Taunton that controls. Here it comes up ahead. Capelli slides in feet first and is still able to direct that ball in for the score. Completely lost his footing, but his momentum kept carrying him forward, and he was somehow able to get that ball back past Gallinger. De Silva with the assist. Capelli his 11th goal of the season, and with 3:18 to play in the half, Milford takes a 2-0 lead. So good to see Capelli out there and getting back on the score sheet. Just at a point in the game where it looked like Taunton was starting to generate a little pressure, Milford gets the ball back on their attacking side, and De Silva facilitates. Capelli finishes. And Milford now with a 2-0 lead. And now another ball comes back onto the Taunton keeper. Gallinger able to make the play. Still don't have any score updates from Sharon. We'll keep an eye on that, especially when we get into halftime. Right now, the clock frozen as we dip under 2 minutes to play. 2 goals in the half so far for the Scarlet Hawks. Felipe Nascimento, his first. Gio Capelli, his 11th. And now Taunton trying to ratchet up the desperation here to try to stay competitive in this one. This ball gets cleared out. Lorenzo, good ball control, gets this one ahead, looking to free Gio Capelli. The keeper coming far out to clear that ball away. And a little too quick on the release there for Morera. He'll reset and instead give way to one of the goal scorers in the half, Felipe Nascimento. Drifting back to the defense. And now here is Capelli, but could not track that ball down. The keeper comes to the edge of the box. Scoops up. Less than 90 seconds now in this first half. Again, Milford looking to free Capelli. Lorenzo now. Great speed up the middle, stays on his feet, angles that one in towards net, and a diving save is made by Gallinger. And that will be the conclusion of the first half, so Milford with one last scoring opportunity, but instead they'll be content to take a 2-0 lead into halftime. We will pause for the halftime as well. Great start to the night on this senior night for Milford, as we continue to broadcast live from the Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. About 7 minutes on the clock for halftime. So if you're joining us on the live coverage, hang tight. We'll be back in just a few short minutes here on Milford TV, coverage presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Welcome back once again inside our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. We bring you coverage of Milford Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Also, want to give a shout out to Unibank, also a sponsor for our Milford TV sports coverage. Great partnerships with three great businesses here in the Milford area who have been a part of an outstanding season of fall sports coverage. Our final day of regular season coverage here today, and for one of the first times that I can remember, we've been able to go straight through our expected coverage with no weather complications whatsoever on this entire season. It has almost never happened, but very pleased that Mother Nature cooperated to allow us to bring you our full expected slate of games here on Milford TV, including this one here tonight that will see Milford extend their lead to 3-0 as Brian Ribeiro gets in on the scoring action here just inside second half action. 3-0 in favor of the Scarlet Hawks. So Milford picks right back up where they left off in the first half. Just over a minute in. And so for Brian Ribeiro, he scores his fourth goal of the season, which puts him in sole possession of second in goals scored on the team behind Gio Capelli. Danny Da Silva right behind with 3 goals scored. Milford now, as you have seen, attacking from left to right across your screens, and it continues to be Logan Gallinger in net for Taunton. We saw Elderson Moreira, the senior, injured early in the first half. Looked to come down awkwardly on the hip and had to come off the field and does not look like he will return to this game. A lot on the line for really both of these teams today. For Milford, hoping to have an opportunity to earn a share of the Kelly Rex Division title. Taunton, meanwhile, looking to avoid a winless season. But right now, Milford in control. Now Ribeiro getting some contact as he tried to drive that ball through a series of defenders. Ball ends up out of play. We did get one scoring update on the action happening in Sharon between the Eagles and the Franklin Panthers, and not good for Milford's purposes, as Franklin had a 2-0 lead late in the first half. I'm not sure if we'll get any further scoring updates on that game, as we've been following along with HockemockSports.com's Ryan Lanigan as he gave some early updates on that game, but he has since departed for coverage of another sporting event. So we'll see if anyone else happens to be tracking the action there in Sharon, as Milford continues to try to up this score. That time the shot goes up over the crossbar and out of play. Milford getting whistled. That was Philippe Nascimento. Taunton will get the free kick. And now Milford calling for a handball as that one bounced around in the box in front of Robbie Capelli. Ends up scooting out of play underneath the Taunton bench. And now a hard boot upfield for Milford will take a bounce to Gallinger, who came outside of the area to play that ball. And now contact from behind, whistled on Stheri Simon for Taunton. It is more than likely that Milford will be on the road for the bulk of their postseason run, certainly to start out. We'll take a look at Milford's current playoff positioning here just momentarily, where they sit currently in the power rankings. We'll get to that after a free kick chance presents itself here for Milford, who will take the kick. Right now it looks like Andre Mora. Or perhaps Gabe Santos. Philippe Nascimento over there as well. Santos. Hard straight line kick knocked down. Rebound left out for Quaresma. Now Gonzalez gathers it in along the near sidelines. Lorenzo now with the ball on his foot. Tries to take it in himself, gets bumped off. Now right back. And he'll try to race after this ball. It goes out of play across the goal line. We'll have a corner kick. Santos will take the corner. post. Sent down right towards the goal line. Taunton can't clear it. Now able to get it out, and Milford knocks it out of play. So the Scarlet Hawks, in the most up-to-date power rankings for Division II, they were updated as of October 25th. Milford comes in the number 23 position in the power rankings at 9-4-4. Top 32 teams making it into the tournament. And so likely they won't be one of the play-in teams, and so in all likelihood we'll open that playoff run on the road. So we'll certainly hope for some early round upsets that might give Milford an opportunity to play a playoff game here on their home turf. Love to get some playoff coverage for this team if possible. But still 33 minutes and 45 seconds to go in this second half. Milford solidly in control here, up 3-0. Gonzalez fighting for that ball. Lorenzo now with it. Gets this pass through the defense, but out of the reach of Brian Ribeiro, who scored the most recent Milford goal. Dumped back in and now cleared out by Taunton's Benny Freitas. Another free kick opportunity here from Milford for Quaresma. Keeps it low to the ground, knocked down and held on to by the keeper Logan Gallinger. Knocked around in front of the Taunton bench. It's Lorenzo again trying to walk the tightrope up that sideline. Ball does end up out of play. And Santos will play it back to Capelli. Not a lot of action in front of Robbie Capelli in this game so far, but he has once again been up to the task. 10 shutouts on the season for Robbie Capelli in net. Goals allowed average right around .75 for the season. It's been an excellent year for the Milford keeper. Continues a long line of really outstanding play in the net for these Scarlet Hawks boys soccer teams, going all the way back in my memory, my earliest games of covering this boys soccer team. It was assistant coach Mike DeSilva who patrolled the net. Just about 10 minutes in to the second half. It's Lorenzo who takes the free kick, sends it right into the gut of Gallinger, excuse me. Now a sliding play for Gabe Santos that draws some heavy cheers from the crowd. Crowd thinned out a bit at halftime, no doubt due to the continued cooling temperatures, but it has been a fun atmosphere here for this senior night. Ball looped over to the front of the Milford goal where it's plucked down by Capelli. Now ball led up ahead for Guardalucci. Now Ribeiro trying to find Lorenzo, but moved off of it. Daniel Freitas sends it up ahead for Steri Simon. Again, good steady play by Gabe Santos. Now turning this ball up ahead. Felipe Nascimento over towards the far sideline now. Trying to curl it back towards the middle. Ribeiro. Back now to the defense. Santos keeps it on the ground. Lorenzo slips, recovers quickly, and now gets taken down. Santos will boot it. Now, long distance check-in goes wide to the near side of the net. Milford keeping the pressure on here despite the 3-goal lead. Right now, everyone who is not actively in the game for Milford trying to stay loose and stay warm on the sidelines. Everyone kind of roaming up towards the near corner, trying to keep the legs from tightening up. Temperature now all the way down to 41 degrees, so cool conditions. Gonzalez will toss this ball back in. Nope. Possession for the Tigers. Milford keeping this play on sides for Diaz. Lorenzo jamming away, wins the ball. Self passes back and forth. Gets the defender to miss. Shoots a pass up ahead. Now it's tipped and in. A lot of action on that play, which ultimately resulted in Uri Diaz with the goal. A lot of the work there being done by Tico Lorenzo, but ultimately it was the tip in by Diaz that gives Milford a 4-0 lead with 26:08 to go. So now 4-0 is the Milford lead. And so for Yuri Diaz, that's his second goal of the season. And Milford not done yet as Lorenzo goes tumbling down to the turf as he tried to carry that ball in. Nice little pass. Quaresma in, trying to hit that pass towards Gio Capelli. And now back to Robbie Capelli. 24 minutes, 45 seconds on the second half clock. This has been a Milford team that lately has been in a lot of low-scoring games. The 1-0 win last Thursday against Franklin. Yes, meanwhile, we get a yellow card issued. And so that was Daniel Freitas who got the yellow card for Taunton. Taunton struggling with composure a bit here as this game gets further and further out of reach. But just to finish off the point, in this last stretch of games, Milford has played 4 out of their last 5 games have been 1-0 finals. 2 of them, they've been on the winning end. 2, they've been on the losing end. As Santos sends this one in from the corner, it goes bending out of play. Mixed in there was a 2-0 win on the road against Sharon, but a lot of lower scores here in this later part of the season, but exploding here today for 4 goals. It's the second time this season that Milford has scored more than 3 goals in a game. We were here for the other time it happened. It was part of a 5-0 win against the Canton Bulldogs here at home back on September 19th. About to dip under 23 minutes to play. Milford having a good time on this senior night. This ball too far out in front for Lorenzo. The Milford girls soccer team also wrapping up their regular season tonight. They play their Taunton counterparts in Taunton. That girls game got underway at 5 o'clock. Milford's been able to grab a couple of wins the girls have in the later stages of this season, including a 5-1 win at Martha's Vineyard back on the 19th, and most recently a 2-0 win here on the home turf on Friday in their final home game of the season against non-conference Hopedale. And some shoving going back and forth, this game getting a little bit chippy. This time Milford whistled for the contact. Milford with a nice pass over towards the far sideline. Stolen away now by the Tigers. So the girls team will finish the season with at least 5 wins, possibly 6 if they can win in this final day of the regular season. So certainly an improvement for that program on what was just a 2-win season a year ago. You hope that those improvements continue to take place. We'll have Kyla Nashawati and Ava Baglione, the 2 prime scoring threats, back together for another season next year. They will certainly have to fill some holes on the defense. Meanwhile, here on the Milford turf tonight, 4-0 is the lead for the Scarlet Hawks, and getting a lot of whistles here as this second half continues. We'll dip under the 20-minute mark now as Milford will get a free kick here. Again, it will be Gabe Santos. And he sends a bullet in, but the save is made by Gallinger. Right now, Milford with a lot of starters on the sideline. And feeling good, in control at 4-0. Danny De Silva still out there for the Scarlet Hawks, trying to pounce on perhaps a loose ball in the area, but ball knocked out of play. Milford will get the toss in. Franklin able to clear that ball out. Beg your pardon, Taunton able to clear that ball out. No further updates from Sharon, so again, Franklin had a 2-0 lead close to halftime, so Milford would need a valiant second half effort from the Eagles to keep their hopes alive of a 3-way share for the Kelly Rex crown. This ball sneaking back out towards the center circle. Taunton still with it. A lot of Milford starters right now huddling to try to stay warm on the sideline. It's 17:22 on the second half clock. Here's Mikey Morera. Nice pass into the corner. Milford with a check-in on Gallinger. He's able to make the play. It's been a pretty good success rate for Milford over the years against this Taunton program. Going back to 2018, Milford 6-2-1 against the Tigers. Milford has won the last 2 consecutive meetings. looking to make it 3-0 with a win here tonight, which looks to be firmly within their grasp with just about 16 minutes left to play. This ball on sides to De Silva. And drops that out of play. Looks like Milford will have a corner kick, but Coach Pinto calling for the timeout. He'll pull his team over to the sideline. 15 minutes and 39 seconds to go in this one. Milford with a comfortable 4-0 lead. We'll take a quick pause here on the broadcast as, again, we come to you live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth. Coverage will return in just a moment here on Milford TV. And the presenting sponsor of our Scarlet Hawks Athletics is the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Back out of the timeout, corner kick for the Scarlet Hawks. Redirected down at the feet of Gabe Santos, who pops it over the goal and out of play. Another corner kick opportunity now on the opposite side of the field. Driven back out. And Milford trying to track it down. Mikey Morera spinning down to the turf and then back up to his feet as Milford will send this one all the way back to Robbie Capelli. We see it sometimes out of both Mikey Morera and Tico Lorenzo, sometimes so fast, almost can't stay on their feet as this ball is sent in on goal. The initial save made by Gallinger, let the rebound trickle out, and Milford puts the rebound back in. And they will make it a 5-0 lead. Bruno Esteves with the goal. Second goal of the season for Bruno. This one comes with 14:29 to play. So the second time this season that Milford achieves 5 goals in a game. If they can put one more in, they'll establish a new single game high watermark in goals scored. And 5 goals, 5 different goal scorers in this game today. It was Felipe Nascimento who got the scoring started 10 minutes into the first half. Gio Capelli with a sliding play to strike for Milford's second goal in the closing minutes of the first half. And then here in the second half, it's been Brian Ribeiro, Yuri Diaz, and now Bruno Esteves. So Milford putting on a good show for the fans on senior night. ball went out of play as it crossed midfield. Milford will get the toss as we dip under 13 minutes to play. That's Lorenzo again, delighting the crowd with some fancy footwork. Now back into the game, Ribeiro sends one on a line towards the keeper, and Gallinger deflects it out of play, resulting in another Milford corner kick chance. Milford taking a hack at that ball. Taunton gets the clear, now driven back in, but out of play by Andre Mora. Here's Lorenzo still out there making plays. He'll get this ball back again. Now drives that ball in, but deflected away off of a defender's body. And now Taunton trying to get a look upfield, but this ball will drift back towards Robbie Capelli, who will pick it up just ahead of Cristiano Arias. Now Mora carries it across the center line. Mora again to Ribeiro, and now Lorenzo. And Cassine up on the attacking side, could not track that ball down. Gabe Santos with chance from the crowd to send that ball in on net. Right now, this crowd wanting to see anyone and everyone out there on the field get an attempt at a goal. Corner kick, angle down, diving play for Gallinger. He's able to smother it. So you think about it, at this time last year, Milford was wrapping up a season well below their lofty established standards. They finished last season at 5-11-4. They finished in last place in the Kelly Rex Division standings. They failed to qualify for the postseason, as Lorenzo sends a shot in. Again, initially, the keeper couldn't hold on. He slides out to the near side of the goal to be able to prevent further opportunities. But a year later, this team able to get right back to where people expect them to be, which is right towards the top of the Kelly Rex Division standings and into the playoffs. And so a credit to head coach Antonio Pinto, assistant Mike Da Silva, to be able to really develop this roster after just one down year, getting them right back to a playoff caliber team once again. Less than 8 minutes now to go in this game. Milford with a big lead. And now players go sliding to the turf. Lorenzo, as well as Luis De Rosa for Taunton. Free kick for Andre Mora. A little bit too much bend on it, but Mora steps back into the play. This ball drops down towards Cassine. Taunton now able to clear. Ball goes out of play. The team had their senior night celebration about a half an hour before game action got underway. Players having a lot of fun with their family members down at field level. Andre Mora, I think, gets the credit for having the most flair to his senior night entrance. Here's Lorenzo now, another shot, ball loose, and then the rebound chance goes screaming off the near post and all the way over towards the far corner. Diaz looking for his second goal of the game. It's been a tough night for Logan Gallinger, who was not expecting to play in this game initially, had to come in after the injury to Moreira. He's been able to get to a lot of balls in this game. The problem has been he's let a lot of rebounds out. Nearly leading to a sixth Milford goal there, but Diaz sending the rebound chance off the post. And now this ball leaking back towards Robbie Capelli. He's had to try to stay loose in this second half despite very little coming his way. And we're less than 5 minutes remaining in the second half. Tico Lorenzo still in this game right down to the closing minutes. And a great feed ahead to Gio Guardalucci, looking to get in on the scoring action, and another point-blank opportunity that Milford can't put in. And Guardalucci hearing about it from his teammates. It's been a fun atmosphere from beginning to end for this Milford boys team, their final regular season game. Meanwhile, Andre Mora a little shaken up. Looks like favoring the left ankle. It's the problem in a game like this. You hate to see injuries in a game well out of hand. And on a cold night like this, leaves open more possibilities for injuries as muscles tighten up in the cold. But in the final stretch now. For Taunton, they will have one more chance to try to avoid the winless season. They'll be back at home tomorrow night to close out their schedule against non-conference Durfee. Hard ricochet off the shins. And that will prove to be the final play of the night. The final whistle sounds. Domination from start to finish for the Scarlet Hawks. 5 different goal scorers contributing to a 5-0 victory. And another shutout performance in net for Robbie Capelli. And so the Scarlet Hawks able to finish the season with a win. They defeat Taunton by a final score of 5-0. And so they will finish the regular season in double digits in victories on the season. So with the win, Milford improves to 10-4-4 overall on the year. With the loss, Taunton falls to 0-15-2. And so again, we weren't able to get a final score confirmation from the Sharon Franklin game, but looking likely that Franklin was going to pull out a victory in that game, which would give the Panthers sole possession of the Kelly Rex Division title. But for this Milford team, they will move on and start to put their attention on the postseason, and we're very anxious to see those MIAA brackets released to see what the playoff road will look like for this team. We wish them the very best of luck. We hope we can possibly sneak in some playoff boys soccer coverage, but again, we encourage everyone to stay close to our social media platforms for any potential playoff coverage coming up on Milford TV, as our regular season coverage has now officially come to an end. Such a great season. You can relive each and every one of our games covered this season anytime on our YouTube channel. But that's going to wrap things up for tonight. A huge thank you to Patrick Garapi, who's no doubt mostly frozen up on top of the press box, manning the cameras here tonight. And I am Tim Coat. That final score, one final time, 5-0. Milford defeats Taunton. Coming to you live from our Rentschler Biopharma broadcast booth, this presentation of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV is presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. So long, everybody.